We're back, Jack. We're going to do it again. Welcome to the Lock and Load show on broadcasting along the interwebs, across the universe, on gun channels, and everywhere. So I hope everybody enjoyed our midweek impromptu live stream about the Hawaii Senate Concurrent Resolution 42 to repeal the Second Amendment. My rant about that one. So I thought I'd wanted to do a little quote from the before the U.S. Declaration of Independence. There was a Scottish Declaration of Independence, and let's see if I can get the quote right and put it up here on the screen for a second. For we fight not for glory, nor riches, nor honors, but for freedom alone, which no good man gives up except with his life. And so I thought that was a pretty good quote from the Scottish Declaration of Independence. Oops, I think I'm getting a feedback loop on that one. Picture within a picture. And that was the name of that particular treaty. Hey, old man's out there. The name of that treaty was, let me punch up my research. I'm doing some crazy. 1 second. The Declaration of Arbroath. I'm sure I mispronounced it. I don't speak Gaelic very well. Declaration of Arbroath. So anyway, so yeah, the Declaration of Independence in the U.S. didn't just come out of nowhere. It was, they pulled the concept from the other places and put it all together into a unique American version of it. So yeah, YouTube's been a little weird lately. So I didn't have a main topic for tonight's show. I know that Oklahoma got a new firefighter helmet, and we had some. Well, I'm wearing my Wiley X's today because somebody had the gun blow up in their face, and so these are my ballistically. This is the only show where you actually need a ballistic sunglasses to do the show, just in case, for safety reasons.
And Wiley X are the best sunglasses I've ever found.
Well, I don't know if they're the best sunglasses, but they're ballistically rated, and so if I'm at the range, I feel safer with ballistically rated sunglasses or glasses, and you can take out there's somewhere in my upstairs closet there's like the clear lenses for this. I just use the cool shades instead, but I don't have to really see what I'm doing. This is just the internet. Let's see. It turns out that the guy who wrote one of the complaints that I made on that was, remember all the whereases that were in that resolution? It's like whereas. It was just like 100 whereas. Apparently, the senator that wrote, the Hawaii state senator that wrote that resolution requesting the U.S. Congress to repeal the Second Amendment studied law. He studied law under Elizabeth Warren. So we have Pocahontas to thank for that.
Whereas he became a douchebag.
Woo!
Not too much. So I've been here. Somebody was saying that Trudeau is having problems in Canada because turns out he's corrupt, a corrupt politician. Who would have thought? Okay.
Yeah, he wanted his attorney general to hurry up and just settle quickly for something, even though this company did a bunch of illegal stuff.
So government contracting, so he wanted somebody to get the contract. So he probably got a piece of the action, or somebody, a relative or friend, got a piece of the action, something like that.
Yep.
That's how it usually works. Kickbacks, piece of the action. The Chicago way.
Yeah.
Except in Canada. Do you want to tell us about the Kel-Tec, or?
Yeah, so I already have it all. Like, I'd like to show it, but I put it all away. I took it all apart. So I fired a couple hundred rounds through a Kel-Tec Sub 2000. I didn't like that I couldn't fit Glock 19 mags in it, so I ordered grip housings for the Glock 19 mags, fired a couple hundred rounds through it, decided I did not like it because it's real short. It's like almost the size of a Glock 26 grip, just because it's different than a Glock, obviously. So I went back to the Glock 17 ones, and then the gun blew up in my hands, my face right on it. And as far as I could tell, I think I put the hammer spring in too tight, and that instead of letting the blowback action blow back, it stopped the blowback action from blowing back, which popped the gun on the fourth round. So,
fourth round? How long did it took 4 rounds before you realized that there was a problem?
No, I fired 3 rounds and no problem, and then the fourth round, it just popped in half on me, and gas in my face and plastic in my face. And I go, oh, hey, I'm holding one end, and here's the other end. Oh, boy.
Must have been unnerving.
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh, I hope there isn't any holes in me that I haven't noticed yet. So luckily there wasn't any extra holes. And, yeah, I mean, shit happens. So you got to I picked up my Chris Vector and had some fun with that.
You just kept right on going. You didn't bandage the injury. You picked up another gun and kept shooting.
Yeah, pretty much. I zeroed my 12 gauge AK. So I just moved on, fired a couple rounds to the Kel-Tec, blew up, spent like a minute or two, collected myself, and picked up the Chris. Somewhat zeroed the Chris.
All right. Well, you get some extra man points for keep going, and having a scar to show. So I've been dealing with my injury has just been I'm not sure exactly why, but I had some cracked heels. I have picked up some cracked heel balm at the Walmart. It's basically some kind of plant oils and beeswax, but it was like I had one big crack that split and a bunch of little small ones, and so it seems to be getting better. I think they just dumped too much chlorine into the hot tub, and I been soaking my feet in there for a while, and then I just think it just stripped off all the oil off of my the natural oils from the skin off of my heels, and then when I was walking around on the concrete, then that kind of basically it looks like tiger stripe like lines on my heel. So I never had that before, so it was strange, but it hurt to walk. So I didn't over the weekend. I just kept putting that stuff on there, that balm on there until it started to get better. But yeah, I put a little bit of antibiotic lotion, and you got to keep your feet working. And I never had that problem before ever. So, I think I'd been watching some of the new season of Naked and Afraid, and when you can't walk, it's a problem. That they were dealing with black palms, and they had these huge spikes, and like I don't know, 2-inch spikes that grow out of the palms, and the branches could fall on the ground. So stepping on a 2-inch spike really screws up your day. I would never do one of those shows where you go out without any clothes or any shoes. It's just, I mean, if I have to bike out, I want all my clothes. Just because, I mean, I don't want to freeze and I don't want to step on something. But yeah, so I was just dealing with cracked heels for the first time.
Ouch.
Yeah, but it's better. It's getting better. Yeah, there was just one that really was kind of split open and needed some triple antibiotic ointment things on it, and I just, after I did put it on that, and then I just rubbed the cracked heel balm from Walmart all over it, the rest of it, and it's getting better. So I'm almost completely good to go. Another day and I'll be fine. But you definitely need your feet. Let's see. Basically, I just wanted to say that if the Democrats, what's that noise? Oh, that's Squib making noise?
Is it me?
Anyway, what I was trying to say with regard to the whole assault weapons ban and the Second Amendment repeal, if they ever get anywhere with that stuff and pass it, I just wanted to say, keep fighting. It's you just have to man the fuck up and keep, it's like the way here in Hawaii, I just look at it like this: if the governor and the legislatures, they don't recognize the Bill of Rights, that means they don't recognize the Constitution, and they definitely don't recognize the President of the United States, then they're really not the government. I mean, I don't know what they are, but they may be in the State House in Hawaii, but if they don't recognize the Constitution or the president, I mean, the Attorney General sues the president about once a month or once every other month for something. And they always lose in the end, but they spend several $1 million joining, like California, New York, and suing the president of the United States for something because they don't recognize his authority or that he's the president of the United States. And so it's like, because the Attorney General doesn't practice law, he practices politics. So it's just like, it's very hard for me to think of the politicians in Honolulu as the government. I just think of them as like a traveling circus, the sideshow performers. And you were talking about AOC, and she's she's very good television, I guess. She brings in ratings, and she's photogenic and fun to watch say stupid things, I guess, because I've never seen her say anything that makes sense. She's in trouble for getting sending election campaign funds to her boyfriend through surreptitious means. But considering everything that everybody else gets away with in Washington all the time, every day, and twice on Sunday, it's almost like a traffic ticket violation. But it's not surprising that we have another corrupt politician out there. I don't want to get too down on politics. I don't watch politics anymore because the world is depressing enough without having to watch politics anymore. I just try and keep an eye on what affects me, what might affect me personally or my family. So I have to watch some politics, but it's like I'd rather watch like Bugs Bunny mess with Elmer Fudd but they don't have those cartoons on anymore for some reason. I can't find the classics. So what are you guys working on? Squibs, what are you reloading?
223 Remington.
223. All right. Is Oklahoma? Can you show people your new leather helmet, or wait, is it a leather one? Yeah, the new. You're saying that you have the new front for it.
Yeah, I got a new front. I've got a Cairns 1010. It's a traditional fire helmet, and let me make sure I just custom ordered this leather front for it. It is 3 colors. It's black. Let me there we go. It's black. It's a black front with red panels and reflective lettering, and the big FD in the middle is what they call diamond glow. Something that the company just come out with. It is glow in the dark, but if you can see it, I don't know.
Diamond glow.
Some light you can see it. Yeah, it's called diamond glow. It's got little silver specks on it. I don't know. You probably can't see it, but anyways, they're reflective. But the material behind the white looking material is actually glow in the dark, and the bottom panel is just a straight panel with my name on it in the same lettering, same color. But this is a Cairns 1010 traditional. I've also got a Cairns 660 Invader, which is a modern style helmet you see most people see firefighters wearing. Nothing's fancy about this thing. And then I've also got my Wildland helmet, which is just a thermoplastic extruded helmet with a couple extra fancy stuff. The goggle clips, 3 goggle clips, one on the back, one on each side, and then these reflective strips. And then it's got a chin strap clip, these little plastic chin strap clips for the chin straps. And then there's a sticker in there that says this thing is NFPA compliant. And anything with an NFPA sticker on it, the price is like 3 times as much.
What is the NFPA?
Yeah, these are National Fire Protection Association. They regulate. It's basically like OSHA, but for fire service. They regulate what we wear, how things are worn, what material goes into the things made. Like this chin strap has to be nylon, or I'm sorry, has to be Nomex. It has to. I know.
So, in case people don't know, Nomex is fire resistant.
Structural fire helmets. Yes, it's a fire resistant, similar to cotton, which is what these shrouds are made of. Nomex, and it's a fire resistant material. The helmets, these modern helmets, they have to do a impact test, a cold and hot impact test. A cold is where they put it in basically a freezer till it gets to like 4. I want to say, I don't know. It's really ridiculous low temperature, and they drop this weight on it. And another one is they have a puncture test where they drop this barb down right onto the helmet, and the heat test is rated to 500 degrees, and I can't remember what the cold test is rated to, but yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. NFPA regulates everything, even these reflective strips, the face shield, the stickers that go on them, all the insides, all the guts. They regulate everything. And
so, would you say those are mostly for going into structures?
Clothing. Yeah, my traditional the big helmets are for structure fire, and this little hard hat, this is for wildland fire, which, like I said again, it still has to be NFPA compliant. They still, I think NFPA 1977, I believe, is what we have to go by on. Yeah, the NFPA 1977 uh, regulates wildland PPE or personal protective equipment. Uh, so, I mean, everything that we wear inside of a fire has to be NFPA compliant and safety. I mean, we don't want to go in and I mean, I just if I was to go up to a fire in just a regular polyester jacket like this, everything would melt to me. And rather than like cotton or Nomex, it would resist heat a lot better. So
I have
yeah,
a Nomex face mask, but
yeah, I've got about 4 or 5 of them Nomex hoods. So and real quick, if anybody is watching and has a traditional, preferably a Cairns helmet, they would like to trade for a 660 Invader, I'm keeping this one. This is sentimental. But for that Cairns 660 Invader, I really want a red helmet because I'm a captain of my department now. So, and I like traditional helmets.
Captain Oklahoma.
Yeah, Captain Oklahoma. So yeah, I'm a captain of my department. I was recently promoted to captain, and it comes with a lot of headache. so if anybody out there has got a red Cairns helmet, traditional, I want it. So
Okay.
but yeah, it's originally, like I said earlier, I originally got it. I've had that 1010. I've had it for several years. I wanted to start a collection several years ago, and somebody gave it to me, and then a few months later, I found out he had cancer, and then he passed away a few months after that. So, like I said, that helmet has a lot of sentimental value to me, and you know, I took it out of retirement, and I use it. That's my pride and joy. That's my baby. So
I
I
understand.
know something as
Yeah.
small as that, insignificant as a helmet, could be mean so much sentimental value to somebody. But hey, stuff happens.
Yeah, well, we only have a limited amount of time on this world, so
Yeah, yeah,
try
and
and you gotta try and make the most of it.
right,
And
and
enjoy.
which brings me to my next point, real quick. My helmets, even this modern helmet, these are the cheapest the cheapest fire helmets you can get. They're about $250. Uh, even normally, let me knock stuff over first. Normally, a hard hat, just a regular thermoplastic hard hat, is normally about, I don't know, 10-15 bucks at a welding shop. This is a $60 helmet, just because it's NFPA compliant. So
They make you pay
if
for
you
that
guys,
sticker.
yeah, they make you pay for that sticker, and that's literally all it is. So if anybody's watching has, of course, a lot of people have volunteer fire departments nearby, uh, especially if you live in a small town. Go by your fire department and talk to a chief or a captain or somebody and see if they need any donations. Um, like I said before in chat, my department we have $2,000 and
Yearly
in
budget.
our account, and that's the grant we get is 2,000. That's the only grant we get right now. So a lot of people think, if somebody has $2,000 in the savings account, that's quite a bit of money. I mean, you can take care of business for a couple of months with that. We have to stretch that money out for a year. If we run out of that money in a year, my fire chief is paying out of pocket to keep the lights on in the station. So
Wow.
if you guys live near a fire department, a volunteer department, Uh, as much as even something as small as a case of water or two. Next time you guys go grocery shopping, pick up an extra 1 or 2 cases of water, drop it off at the fire department. That couple of bucks means a lot. So uh, I think I was telling the guys in pre-chat that just to outfit a firefighter in bunker gear, full bunker gear, is about somewhere around $5,000 or $6,000, and that's the most affordable you can get. And
So how do the
20
volunteer
firefighters.
departments do it? I mean, the government pays for like just regular. I mean, the full for regular county fire departments. The county equips them and everything. I mean,
No,
right? No.
no, no. I don't know about other places, but in Oklahoma, uh, the forestry has a loaner program where if you need trucks, they'll loan you trucks, but you better hope that they're already in good shape and ready to roll, because if not, you know, you're spending thousands of dollars to put them in the shop and get them running. We just got a 5-ton, and it's still not in service yet because we've got to plumb it out, and it's a forestry truck. So, and anytime we get anything like that, if if we need to get rid of it, we have to give it back to forestry service. Um, but like as far as anything money, we can get. There's grants out there, but your department has to meet certain. You have to have certain many houses. You have to have X number of acres in your district, X number of square miles in your district. There's a lot of things that fall into place as to where what you get. And it's really hard because a lot of people, when just like you, Hawaii, you said that the government helps out if we're lucky. The only thing government helps out with us is if we call forestry, we have a huge wildfire that we need forestry to come out and help us with. That's the only thing they do. They'll come out and they'll fight fire for free. They eat that cost. That cost can be anywhere between like I said, one fire retardant drop is X thousands of dollars, and
From a
if we
C-130,
need, yeah, if we have an entire task force out there, or even a complex task force, that's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that luckily we don't have to pay back. That the forestry comes out and they do the job and it's out of their pocket. So right now in Oklahoma, we get nothing. Some counties get taxes. My old department, we had a 15th of a cent tax, and out of like $100, was it $100 out of a 15th of a cent? We get, what is that, $1.50? I think it's $1.50. My math isn't good. I'm not good with numbers. But anyways, a 15th of a cent was what we got. And believe it or not, that 15th of a cent went a long way. I mean, we were able to get all new bunker gear. We were able to get new trucks, new equipment, new wildland gear. We were able to get all kinds of new stuff. But if the state would implement a 15th of a cent tax statewide, no fire department in the state would be hurting for money.
Well, you're assuming that the politicians don't divert the money to their pet projects before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, after a while, oh, well, y'all don't need a 15th of a cent. Here's a 10th of a cent. And then here's a 5th of a cent. And before you know it, we're down to, out of every $100, we get a penny. And it's ridiculous because that money, a lot of people, like I said earlier, that $2,000 may mean a lot to somebody, but in fire service, that is nothing compared to the cost of equipment. A regular, we have our brush trucks are regular Chevys and regular Dodge trucks, flatbeds, but they've got skid units on the back. What we call skid units is a tank, a pump, a motor, gas tank, and hose reels. And that little skid unit alone is $10,000. So $2,000 a year for an apartment is not anything. It is nothing. It's enough to keep the bills on for a little bit, and then after that, like I said, my chief pays out of pocket to keep the bills on, to keep the lights on. So, yeah. So, and it's really hard because we go out and risk our lives. You know, I don't get anything for it. We don't get paid for it. We're volunteers, and you know, we go out there and fight fire for days at a time. I've been on fires for 3 days before we even got something to eat because we've just been out there fighting fire. It's really, and I really quick, the story I'm gonna say. I'm gonna try not to take too much time, but I didn't go to school one morning because I had a doctor's appointment, and I had actually pulled right into my doctor's office, and was about to go inside when our pagers went off to a fire, and so instead of going to the doctor, I went a couple blocks up to the fire station, picked up a fire truck. I didn't get off that fire until about 8 o'clock 2 days later. And even then we were still getting called out to that fire for the next few days for hot spots and flare-ups and all kinds of stuff. So, we don't get paid anything to do it. And we go out for days to risk our lives to save somebody else's property and somebody else's life that, by the time we get there, if it's a house, by the time we get there, the homeowner is saying, "What took y'all so long?" Well, we had to run every red light and run every stop sign, risk our life to get out here and do the best we can to save your property. And you're welcome. So every once in a while we get somebody that's nice to us and thanks us for coming out. And it's not something we have to do. It's something that we choose to do. So.
How's it go? No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah. Well, in a fire service, you don't get noticed at all. I mean, very rarely does somebody say, "I'll thank you for your help." And in fire service, you're always the bad guy.
Always. Oh, I don't know about that. I understand if people just lost their house, they're not going to be happy, but.
Oh yeah, I understand that, and we do everything we can. We set up donations. We set up, little cans at the convenience store that says, "Hey, this person lost their house. Can we donate your change off that bottle of soda you just bought? Donate a few cents off of it. I don't care. We do everything we can, and these people aren't doing it. We tell them we'll do it for you. We'll do anything we can, and now with Facebook, it's a lot easier because we can see who's giving away free clothes and who's giving away free furniture, and we can go that route. But still, nothing. There's still that coffee can right next to the register at a convenience store that says, "Please donate to this family that lost their house," and that's usually a fire department that's trying their best to help somebody out, even though they're still getting called every name in the book because their house burned down.
Yeah, I remember when that place I was living in Malibu burned down, and the house of the owners above it burned down. And they weren't happy with the fire department at all because obviously it was like a brush fire that there was like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and it just came over the hills like a flamethrower, and no force on earth could have stopped it. But they basically they thought the fire department basically let it burn down because it was too much trouble to save that unit because it had some wood shingles and it wasn't like fire resistant.
And I can guarantee you, and I'm not saying anything bad about Cal Fire, but they did let it burn down. In training, even to this day, we have policies in place that we have to let houses go if they cannot be saved. And that's what I talked to you last time about, if you take the extra time to do a couple of extra things to help us help you, then we can make it to where we can help save that property. But if it's wood shingles on a wood siding with, you know, cedars all around the house, you know, fancy, nice shrubs all around the house. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, in a wildland urban interface, which is what they call wildland firefighting in the Hollywood Hills, if you want to say that, you know, uh, it's the new term. It's wildland urban interface, uh, and that's how we're taught to to
Yeah, I
do
mean, I
that.
saw
It sucks.
I saw my place burned down on TV, and when my 50 caliber box of ammunition blew up, I saw the fire chief like duck. They were interviewing him, and right in front of right at the bottom of Bramble Pacifica, where my the apartment I rented was, and they had it burning in the background, and then there was an explosion, and he said, "Well, there goes my ammunition."
Yeah, you know, and see, I don't want to sit here and say, you know, and I say we because I am a firefighter. You know, I'm not gonna sit there and say we let your house go because we didn't want to take the time to save it. I guarantee you, when they made that decision, it's not an easy decision to make when you have to sit
Well, I mean,
and
I walked up
watch
and
a house burn.
it wasn't just they let the whole street burn. I mean,
Yeah.
it was Rambla Vista. I walked up and down it after they let people back in, and it was like London after the Blitz. I mean, the whole place was just completely wasted. It looked like you know, it had been bombed out completely. All that was left was the concrete on the ground, and from the concrete from the parking structures, and a little few pieces of burned wood, that charred wood. That was all that was left where there
Yeah.
used to be apartments and homes.
Yeah,
And
it's not an easy decision to make, and I'll tell you that firsthand. I've, you know, especially, you know, when somebody lives out so far out in the country, so far away from fire hydrants, you know, that we take every brush truck and every tanker we can call in and go out there, and we just, there's no saving it.
The only thing that stopped the fire in Malibu was the ocean. That's why it stopped. The wind blew it to the ocean, and that was it. It was over.
Yeah, no fuel.
AHVS, gentlemen, I gotta go.
Okay, good luck with your rebuild on your Keltec.
Awesome. We'll see when the parts come in.
Stay
Okay.
safe, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, HVS. See you.
Hey, thanks for
How you
coming.
doing, buddy?
See you, Squib.
All right. Well, me and Oklahoma have been chatting up this thing for a while. Anything new over there besides just reloading 223 Squib? See if he's still with us or we put him to sleep. All right. Well, never mind.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now the fire dangers are low. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background, but it's raining. Rain's hitting my tin roof. Kind of love the sound of it, but
Gee, it was
Kinda
so
ready for
cloudy in Kona for all of the weekend, and so I couldn't walk anywhere anyway, so I didn't go anywhere. And today was the first sunny day, so I made it out to the pool once again. And
yeah, we're finally getting lows in the 40s, so it's good for us. I mean, which so far, you know, usually within in a week's forecast, we'll see some lows in the, you know, 30s, 20s maybe in the winter, but we have no lows in the 30s for the rest of the week. So I think spring's finally coming for us.
spring already?
Yep. Which spring and winter are pretty late for us anyway. Or fall comes in pretty late, and spring comes out pretty early for us. Which this is actually a lot later than normal for us because you know, here it is March and we're barely getting some decent temperatures. But we normally for us winters. A cold winter day for us is highs in the 50s. So, and every once in a while we get a cold snap and we get really cold. We get legit cold weather,
Well, I'm
teams.
so lucky I don't have to deal with cold weather. It's just wonderful out here most of the time. I mean, okay, we didn't get the sun over the weekend, but
Yeah,
if
I was
it's not
talking
as sun
to
shining and perfect, then Anyway, go ahead.
I was talking to my cousin in San Bernardino earlier. I was texting her, and she said, "Well, is it going to be warm this summer? Because I want to know when I come down and visit my uncle." And talking about my dad, and I said the only thing we can really uh, predict about Oklahoma weather is in the summer it's going to be hot. That's the only thing we can predict.
Well, gonna go back to survivalism. I was watching the new season of Naked and Afraid, and it was this week's new episode was they had a group of 4 people who couldn't get along. It's like 3 out of 4 people tapped out. But I mean, it's like I thought one guy was going to burn. Was either going to attack the other guy or burn down the shelter. Before he left, before he tapped out. Like, I'm going to tap out. Before I tap out, I'm going to burn your shelter down.
Oh man,
it's like, why don't they put these people on alone instead of Naked and Afraid if they can't work as a team? It's like
right.
Group dynamics is I can imagine that group dynamics it would be the most difficult part of being in a survival scenario.
Especially with a stranger. You don't know how these people. You don't know their background on survival. You don't know if they can handle it or if they're just somebody off of Wall Street.
It's like people don't know their own abilities and they can't gauge their own abilities until they're tested in some manner. And so they either think they're not as good as they are, or they think they're a lot better than they are. And I guess when you throw them out there in the real world, they find out. And unfortunately, they can take somebody else or a whole group of other people down with them if they're not up to it. So I think it was interesting because I think the main thing that interests me about those shows is why people have to tap out, and if it's because it's not always for a survival reason or something that you would think.
Yeah, some of these things I've seen it before. I mean, it's like they the littlest thing. They're like, I got a splinter in my foot. I'm out. Something like that. It's they really don't want to. I've seen people tap out on the first day because, just a small splinter.
The show last night was that they were dealing with these black palms that have these like 2-inch long, splinters. they're thorns. Yeah, and it's like that would like almost go through your foot completely. That's worth the tap out. I mean, because I was dealing with when I was watching them dealing with that, I was dealing with my own like cracked heels problem, which I'd never dealt with before, and it felt like a bone bruise or something. But it was just cracked. My skin was cracked as it got dried out. But try walking on a cracked heel. It's not fun. So, I mean, you need your feet. If you're in a survival situation, you need your feet to work. I mean, body can't do anything without it. But let's see. I've seen people tap out because of sunburn, because of they couldn't handle the bugs. The bugs are just 24/7 bugs biting you all the time. In certain places, and
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know if I can handle that. I hate, man. Mosquitoes are the worst. I hate mosquito bites. I hate them.
I've got netting. I've got mosquito netting in my kit.
Yeah. No, you don't get to have it if you're naked.
Well, I mean, you get to bring one item with you, and one time they bring one. If they're smart, they'll bring mosquito netting if they're in that kind of an environment. And then in which case, but I mean, that's the reason I would never do that show is like I need all my gadgets.
Yeah.
They could say that's
I'd-
over reliance on gear, but I mean, if I have like 10 ways to start a fire, that's okay with me, and
Yeah.
and I don't have to build a bow drill and do it the hard way.
Yeah.
And
I know, right? If I got some little fire starters and some little fire starter sticks and a Bic lighter, I'm good.
and because you can have other shit to focus on,
Oh yeah.
and so it's I guess you can set yourself little camp out challenges, but camping isn't the same as survival, really. And it just I think the whole thing is at some point you need to evaluate what you can and can't do just to get an idea of what you can and can't do in case you're in a situation where you actually need to rely on some kind of skill level to survive. Of course, the chance of somebody being like out in the middle of nowhere naked and without any clothes, I mean, that's pretty. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to happen to me unless it's a plane crash or something. But
Right.
and if I have to bug out, it's like I'm bringing everything that I can, everything
Exactly.
I can carry.
If I can fit the kitchen sink in there, it's going.
I mean, I've got a teapot in my bug out kit.
Hey, I've got a Dutch oven.
Oh, well, I can't fit that in my bug out kit. It's too heavy. So I'll have to put that in like, I'll just have to when I start throwing kitchen shit in there.
Yeah.
Are you going to make any Dutch oven cooking videos?
Yeah, I was actually going to do it today. I've got everything out, and I was hoping that we'd got a break in the rain, but of course it started raining, so I had to cancel that plan. So, but,
what were you going to make? What were you going to make?
I was gonna experiment with. I've got some russet potatoes, and I've got a can of cream of mushroom, and I went out and got a bag of shredded cheese. I've got some deer meat. I was gonna kind of do some kind of a potato casserole, just to, I don't know, just to kind of mess with it. I mean, I'm not good with just making something out of nothing. I like to have a recipe, but I mean, I can cook, but
I made hot dogs for today, so that was about
there
it.
you go.
I had Farmer John's Red Hots.
I had for breakfast. I dressed up a bowl of ramen, and let me tell you, I hate ramen. But if you dress it up, I hate them. But if you dress them up, dress them up like you're going to prom. Oh my goodness!
Well, the price is right for a meal for ramen. It's like really inexpensive.
Yeah, they are, and here's a recipe. If you like ramen, or if you even eat them, I don't know if you do because I know they're high in sodium. But get whatever you want, your favorite one, even the one you like the least. Put a little bit of cilantro in there, some scallions, and put a little sriracha, and throw a hard-boiled egg in there, cut it in half, throw it in there. And it sounds weird, but I guarantee you'll fall in love with them again.
Well, cilantro fixes almost anything. I mean, I love cilantro.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I cannot believe, like, when I first tried it, I was like, I saw this recipe online, and I was like, man, that's just like three extra things.
Honestly, though, if the shit hits the fan, I'm not going to be able to find any cilantro.
Oh man, grow it, dude. That stuff grows like, I don't know about you guys, but we got Johnson grass. That stuff grows wild like Johnson grass.
If I ever get out of my condo and get my own garden, look out! Cilantro and red leaf lettuce are going to be like number one.
Once you start cilantro, you will literally have to kill it out before you can get rid of it. I mean,
I love it. I love that stuff.
I do too.
Only place I can get it though is at Safeway. So obviously, if the shit hits the fan and the stores aren't there,
order some seeds.
I need to order me someplace with a backyard where I can have a garden.
Right. Yeah, man. Like I said, just add a couple of sprigs, a couple of little stalks of cilantro. Just pull the leaves off, throw them in there, cut up a scallion, put it in there.
Well,
And
I've got ramen in my pantry because it's like the cheapest survival food that you can, throw in your pantry and have something to eat. It's obviously not ideal if you want to, keep your sodium down, but it's food and it's inexpensive. It's like the cheapest survival food you can throw in your pantry.
Like I said, I used to like them. I used to eat the crap out. I used to, oh my God, breakfast, lunch, dinner for months.
Saves money.
I loved them.
It's cheap.
Well, heck, they used to be good. And you get tired of eating them after a while. And then I saw this. I was like, okay. So we went to Walmart. I picked up one ramen.
One?
Or I picked me up one.
They sell them by the case.
Yeah, I know. But you can buy one for like 39 cents or something like that. So I picked up one and got some cilantro and scallion and some pre-boiled eggs. You can just buy boiled eggs at the store now.
Your Walmart has cilantro?
Yeah.
Lucky son of a bitch.
So I picked up one and I came home, and later that night I got hungry, so I was like, I'm going to try this. So I tried it. I went back the next day and bought a whole case of ramen. I mean, I don't know what it is. And then I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, maybe I just got the taste back that I like ramen. So a couple of days ago, I ate one without anything in it. I threw it out. It was horrible. So I went and got more cilantro and scallions and some more ramen the other day. And actually last night. And I'm telling you.
Well, the thing is, you wouldn't be throwing out food if you were like in the starvation mode, even no matter how bad it tasted.
True.
Because that's one thing you pick up from watching Enough Naked and Afraid is when people are actually going into malnutrition phase, that they get uncoordinated, clumsy, their brain doesn't work, and so people aren't going to be throwing out food just because they don't like how it tastes if the shit hits the fan. It's just so it's survival food. I mean, survival eating is different than what you want to eat every day when the grid is up. I mean,
right.
So, but you can learn. That is, I just try and use those shows to see what I can learn, and
exactly.
Fun. And there's naked women on there, so hey.
Imagine the blur's gone.
Imagine the blur's gone.
But no, yeah, it's that's so. I watch those shows to, and it's the same way with firefighting videos. People ask me all the time, why are you watching? It's the same thing. My sister's be like, didn't you watch that video earlier? It's like, no, this is a totally different video. So, well, why is it? It's the same thing as a house burning. Well, there's different dynamics going on. There's, smoke is reading differently. The weather conditions are different. And watching these survival shows is like, okay, what if I was in that situation? What would I have done different, or what would I do? You're playing these scenarios in your head, and it's not just entertainment, but it's you're pretty much training yourself mentally. If I was in that situation, what would I do? And that's how it is.
But it's the difference is you're not in the situation. You're not starving. You're not like out of energy. You're not in a calorie deficit. You're not so tired that you're and uncoordinated that you can't like walk straight or or swinging a machete is taking your life in your hands. And there's not a leopard like 20 feet away outside your camp, or a bear, grizzly bear.
Right.
Going, what's that porcupine you're eating? It smells like you smell like food to me. It's different. So watching on TV is different than being there, and because when you get really tired, and and in a calorie deficit, you make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's hard to tell what it's easier when you're watching it on TV. I think I can learn a lot from just why people tap out, because it's always for different reasons. The medical tap outs are interesting.
Yeah. There was one I was watching, and it's the only one that always comes up anytime I think of Naked and Afraid. I think they were in South America, and the male person, the guy had come across a tree that produced a sap it was like acid, and it was burning his skin. It was just burning his flesh up. And the medical team came in and gave him some kind of shot to help try to counteract the effects of that sap. Well, the chick had done her research for anything in that area that they were going to be deployed in, and she remembered hearing something about a neutralizing plant that she could find to help counteract those.
Is that an alkaline plant?
Something like that, and she actually saved him from tapping for just because of that. Something as simple as that. And here's a lot of people don't understand, but I learned this in high school. For every poisonous animal or poisonous plant in the wild, within 15 foot, there's a neutralizer for that. There's a neutralizer plant or something for that. So, but it's crazy to see, that it's funny that, a lot of people have tapped out for a lot less than that, and yet this guy was covered in head to toe from this acidic sap, and there was a tree right next to it that would counteract the effects of it.
Well, I have been looking at the external chat. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but sorry I haven't been keeping track. There's a troll went in and out, and some regulars came in and out. Just been talking here about this stuff.
If I turn my laptop on, it'll kill my Wi-Fi bandwidth, so it'll cause me to kick off and robot a lot more than I already am. So that's why I don't get in external much anymore.
Well, I was just paying attention to the chat and not looking in the externals, but a lot of people in Hawaii are on welfare. Poor Conservative made a comment. I think the whole government is going to be on welfare in a minute, because it's pretty much like almost as bad as Illinois. California, they're all having financial issues. I think my favorite one is the dual survival. Out of all the survival shows, because they're more like they've got a more professional approach to dealing with the situations than your average person. Of course, would have more common with the average person than the survival guys. But and obviously they have a crew supporting them. But it's just, I watch those shows for educational reasons, for fun, and you always pick up a couple tips, and I pay attention to all the stuff in the jungle. The thing that people don't get is if you go up on the volcano, over 2,500 feet, the bugs don't go up over 2,500 feet because
Yeah.
they don't like the cold weather. They like it when it's warm, so they stay down at the lower altitude. So if I go bug out at the volcano, I really don't need my mosquito net. I'd be more worried about a boar stumbling into my camp late at night than a mosquitoes, because there won't be any at that altitude.
Yeah.
But I'll throw the damn thing in my kit anyway.
You never know. You might need something to strain water with.
A mosquito net? No, I've got a Millbanks bag in my. I'll just bring my bug out roll for that.
Well, in that case, you might need something to seine out some bait fish.
I don't. When it comes to fishing, I'm not gonna be eating reef fish because I'm too afraid of the ciguatera out here in tropical areas. So that's a reef toxin that builds up in the reef fish.
Oh.
So I only eat like deep sea fish, like tuna. So
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of the more common things that you could fish off of the just by shore fishing.
I smell what you're stepping in.
Well,
our regions are very different, so I forget about stuff that could be poisonous to you. Over in Hawaii could be normal for us. Like you do deep water fish, and we'll go out in the creek and fish catfish and bass.
right. Well, you have to know your area locally. You have to know what could be poisonous, and if there's something poisonous out there, you better know about it before you try and eat it, or before it tries to stab you with its neurotoxins or something. If there's an animal that has neurotoxins, you need to know what it is when you see it, not find out about it the hard way. And there are animals out here with neurotoxins, especially underwater. The geographer's cone snail is like one of them. What's the poisonous the sea crate? Is it crate snake? Those have a pretty nasty neurotoxins. They eat moray eels,
Stonefish,
rockfish. Yeah, lionfish. Are they poisonous too?
lionfish. That's one. Lionfish. That's another one I'm thinking of.
And of course, and then you have your just straight stone cold assassins like tiger sharks, hammerheads.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go out free diving, you might run into some of those, or just surfing. But especially I think when somebody went fishing by Kauai High Harbor, out by the breakwater, and on a kayak, and one of their friends just saw the kayak later without the fisherman on it, and basically a shark got him. So, and then the people were angry. They wanted the police to do something about it, and the police were like, "Well, you want us to go arrest the shark?"
Yeah, I was going to say, what are they going to do? Go out there and arrest the shark?
Yeah, there was a shark
on murder charges.
There was the shark was swimming around the kayak. They could have done something. He drew with a smile on his face, I guess. But
the only thing they could have done was put a sign up that says "sharks in the area."
Well, everybody knows the shark, and it's so it pays to know what the dangers are in your local area, where you're going to be. And the ocean, as soon as you enter the ocean, you become part of the food chain. And if you don't, in Hawaii, if you don't respect the power of nature out here, it will kill you. I mean, if the volcano doesn't get you, if you don't fall into a crevasse or into or just the ground doesn't just collapse under you and and you fall into a steaming pit of lava, then or there's about 100 different ways you can die if you're not paying attention.
It's what are those what are those puns in Mazarasha and Mother Hawaii? You don't eat from the earth eats from you.
Well, yeah, and there's there used to be in some of the volcanically heated tide pools that everybody swims in. There's some nasty viruses in there that you can catch something from if you have an open cut, and
Yeah.
it can kill you. Some people have died from just swimming around in ponds that I swam in. It's just that when I'm done, I wash myself off with some Hibiclens or something after
Oh,
I
yeah.
swim in those. But the pond that I'm talking about no longer exists because the lava overran it. And but it was a popular swimming spot before the lava overran it. And so it pays to know your local wildlife and vegetation, what you can eat, what you can't. So yeah, so fishing is kind of it would seem like, well, you got the ocean all right, you could just go fishing, and it's like, well, no, not really.
You're taking a risk just to do that.
Yeah, and so if somebody brought in some ahi tuna, I mean, that takes quite an effort to go out and get deep sea fish.
Oh yeah.
So I imagine I'd have to trade something of significant value to get in the shit hit the fan to get some fresh tuna delivered in. I mean, I've got cans of it, but it's not the same as fresh catch.
Exactly.
And shore fishing is fun sport-wise, but it's just that there's danger. So, I don't know. I'm just covering old ground, I guess. Anyway, I'm glad I don't have to do a rant about like gun control every week or something. I know we had a lot of views on the one about the repeal of the Second Amendment bill that they put forward in the Hawaii legislature here, but I don't like having to get all worked up and get my blood pressure up and rant and rave on every show.
Right.
So one interesting thing that happened, I think, is that because I think Canadian Pepper had done a show about food, a food crisis, and then Bear Independent did a talk about I'm going to stack up food to the rafters, and I think I made a comment on it, and somebody left a comment saying, well, the problem with freeze-dried food is it doesn't have any live what was the word they were using? Oh, let me go look. Enzymes. That was it. Any living enzymes. They're all dead enzymes. So, I mean, it looks like food to me when I make it, but I don't know about enzymes.
Just probiotics and stuff like that. Stuff your body needs.
Right. Well, I mean, I can get probiotics from just gummies. I mean, can't I? I don't. So, I mean, when you're talking about grid down scenario, I would think that having a bunch of freeze-dried food would be a good thing. But I understand that. I mean, when I did a test once where when I had to have my engine, when I blew a gasket, need to bring in a remanufactured engine for my Blazer. And I just figured, well, what I'm going to do this month is I'm going to live off of my preps just as a test. And yeah, I felt after a couple of weeks, I was ready to kill just for a fresh piece of lettuce. So I walked to the store and bought a fresh piece of lettuce, a head of lettuce or something. But I had a craving for like fresh lettuce after a couple of weeks of just canned and freeze dried stuff. So I did a test, and I know the feeling, but survival eating is different than, and I just did it as a test to see how it would be for like a month of not, because I didn't really want to rent a car. So I was being cheap, but I was saying, well, this will be a good test of my living off my preps for a month. Yeah,
and you got to do that.
I was definitely craving like fresh lettuce. I was like ready to kill for a piece of lettuce. So I didn't have to kill anyone. I just walked to the store and bought it, but I didn't rent a car. But other than that, I pretty much lived off of just my preps for about a month until, because it took a while for the engine to get delivered here by ship. With the Jones Act. I think they just certified a new Jones Act ship. They just built one. Tulsi Gabbard showed up. I think she's polling 0 in Iowa right now in the presidential, which is good. I don't want her. I know she's my representative, but I don't want her to be elected to anything else. Done enough damage here. All right. Well, I don't know what else to talk about. Maybe Squib can say something. He's been out there reloading for this whole chat, I think.
Something.
Something. Well said.
You.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Something.
I try. I got to step in for the big stuff here. I don't know. Vanessa Kitty and Poor Conservative are out there in the chat. I went upstairs to the desktop and just gave a quick glance. I really didn't read all the comments. I'm downloading or uploading a video for my channel right now, and just bouncing back and forth between running up to the computer to do things, because everything takes time. It doesn't just happen instantly. And just doing some case prep down here. I'm not gonna charge any powders or prime any cases or anything else like that today. I'll do that tomorrow if I have time.
You've got time to do that? Tomorrow?
Yeah, before work. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Tuesday. I didn't know you had time to do that stuff before work.
Yeah, I work on all kinds of stuff before I go into work, and then I come home and I try to do a few more things, and then I try to get as close to 7 hours sleep as possible, and then do it again. Rinse, lather, repeat, man.
Yep.
All right. So how many rounds are you trying to figure to make reload here for 223?
I've already done I don't know, a couple hundred rounds of 223 and 5.56. I've already put them in boxes and put them in an ammo can. So I've got 150, maybe 200 more cases up here. So I'm going to do more 5.56 than 223, but I'm using different powder and different bullets. The 5.56 can obviously take more powder, more pressure. So,
by the way, I have not got an air fryer yet. They didn't have that particular one when I was at Walmart last time I looked. They didn't have the same brand Poor Conservative was using in his video. So I'm not in a rush. Eventually I'll figure out an air fryer that works for me.
What about a power pressure cooker? Have you got one of them yet?
No.
Oh, those things are awesome. I love them. You can do a full roast in like 20 minutes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty much, lately I've been doing, if I want a fancy meal, I'll do P.F. Chang's in my Copper Chef pan.
There you go.
Yeah, it takes about 10 minutes or so, 10, 12 minutes, and it's done. All right. Well, I don't know what else to cover as far as live enzymes for freeze-dried food. I've got I just use those probiotic gummies. I mean, hopefully that'll get me through if the shit hits the fan. It'd be great to have a garden, but the other thing I'll talk about is Bear Independent keeps saying, well, if you're serious about prepping, then you're serious, and if you're not, it's just a hobby. Well, but I'm serious about my hobbies. It's just so, I don't know. It's just a different philosophy. He thinks everybody has to live in a place where there's like 10, where the population density is 10 people for every square mile or something. And that's not me at all. But then again, I'm 3,000 miles from the nearest continental landmass. So I think that counts for something as far as being out of the line of fire. But yeah, it could get crazy if the ships stop coming. All the people in Kona start fighting over food. But I could just hope that doesn't happen. If it does, and I have to bug out to avoid getting in firefights, then I'll have to over food. Then I'll have to deal with that when I have to deal with that. But I guess for me, prepping has always been a hobby, and but I take my what was that line from the Al Capone movie? It's like everybody has to have enthusiasms, and so it's just something I do for fun. So if I keep it fun, then if I can keep it fun, then I'll keep doing it. If it's a grind, then I'll just get fed up with it. And I've done the grind thing before with things that I enjoy doing, and it just killed it. So I'd rather just approach it as a hobby, and I take it seriously, but I do it for fun. And so I don't have to, I can be serious about it and still do it for fun that way. If I just sit, if I like follow if I do like the best possible prepping in advance, and it would just destroy my mind and try and be a professional prepper or something. It's just like, no, thank you. I'll do it for a hobby until it's not anymore. If the shit hits the fan, then it won't be a hobby anymore. But until the shit does hit the fan, it's a hobby. And I don't want to take it so seriously that I have to move out into the jungle today. It's like I'd rather play those games in my head than bug out to the jungle for more than a few days as an experiment. Because it's building a camp out in the jungle is a lot of work. And besides, where I want to bug out, people will notice if I did that. And then I couldn't bug out there when I had to bug out. So, I could set it up so people wouldn't notice or couldn't get to where I want to bug out. But if I do it when the grid's down, but when the grid's up, people would notice. So I just pick my spots and I pick my places, and I try and until then, I'll just have fun with it. And that doesn't mean that doesn't mean I won't be ready if need be. But you don't have to move into, I don't think you have to move into a 10 population density of 10 people in every square mile maximum area to avoid zombie mobs if the shit hits the fan. I don't. But if I'm wrong, I'll find out. So
I'm gonna have to get off here.
Okay, thanks for coming on and
no
sharing
problem.
your helmet.
I appreciate you inviting me and inviting my helmets. The storm's coming in, and I'm counting the lightning strikes between lightning strikes and thunder, and it's getting closer. And we've got a bad habit of getting our power lines hit by lightning out here.
Well, I noticed I haven't heard your dog bark for the whole chat, so I figure something.
Yeah, he's hidden up in his barn or his little dog shed.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want to go out with all this thunder, the noise from the thunder.
Oh, it's been pouring off and on, and it's starting to pick up again right now. So,
all right, stay safe. God bless.
Yeah, Squib, have a good night. Y'all take it easy.
All right, good night.
All right, I'm going to check the externals really quick, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Let's see what's going on out there. If I can find the external. Hawaii is great if you're rich or on welfare. Who needs to get married? Well, there's one person left in this chat that is married, so. Well, you could say I'm married to my Glock. Yeah. So there we go. All right. I'll check the gun channel side really quick. I saw Ohio 45 out there at the gun channel side. If I can actually get this mouse to go where I want it to go, which I can't. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Nope, he's gone. All right. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll see you next week on the Lock and Load Show on gun channels and across.
Looks like Edge jumped in a little late.
Oh, Edge just showed up just as I was about to close this out. Hey, how's it going? How's Texas? How's San Antonio? Looks like he's just getting his internet organized.
It's warm. Let me see my shit is set up.
I was just going to wrap that up, and Edge jumped in. So we had an exploding gun. He had a gun blow up in somebody's face. It was a relatively calm show. Not too much. Talked about the Second Amendment repeal in the Hawaii legislature, and some Naked and Afraid episodes, and not too much. What's happening in Texas? Roboting.
Body? Oh.
I heard you kind of talking there at the end before it was roboting, but I think you were clear at the end. Maybe I'll switch to my Wiley X's and I'll have better luck. We lost him? Well, I think I'll just wrap up the show, and if Edge comes in, we'll talk. We'll just keep it the after chat going for a little while. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Give us a thumbs up. And Edge, you got anything important to say before I wrap the show up? I got half a syllable there.
Yeah, he's probably just having internet problems. It happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll put on my AK Operators Union hat and sign us off because they're just having internet problems. And hopefully we'll get to talk to him in the after chat a little bit. Y'all be cool. Stay free. Hey, I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to put that. Let me do the screenshot of that quote from the Scottish Declaration of Independence, because I thought it was a pretty good quote. the Declaration of Arbroath, Abroath. God, I'm sure I screwed up that. My Gaelic is not too good. Let's see. Did I close that? Is that why it's not letting me screen share it? Let's see. Now here it is. Okay, the quote is, For we fight not for glory, nor riches, nor honors, but for freedom alone, which no good man gives up except with his life. So if they ever pass an assault weapons bill in your state, just man the fuck up, do what you got to do. It's not a constitutional law. And stay free. It's the only way to live your life. I don't know about you, but I don't know, I've been living my whole life as a free person, and I like living that way. So I don't think it's too much to ask our politicians to keep the Bill of Rights as is. All right, so y'all stay safe, stay cool. See you next week for the Lock and Load Show. So yeah, for my European friends, guns, right?